Welcome, everyone. Glad you could join us, and happy Friday. I'm Jared Braverman, Marketing Director at the D&D Building. I'm very excited for our guest speaker that we have lined up for you, Gail Doby. Now, Gail is the co-founder of a coaching and consulting firm that helps designers, architects, and creatives increase their profit and ultimately live the life that they dreamed about when they're in design school. She has almost 20 years of experience running her own design firm, and she also has a BSBA in finance and banking. One of her strengths is helping designers develop innovative and creative ways to overcome business roadblocks that creative entrepreneurs face on the path to starting their own profitable design business. With her unique background of design and business, she's helped many other designers achieve the life that they want through her coaching business and her numerous speaking engagements. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Gail to kick it off.
All right. Thank you so much, Jared. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone today. And if you're just joining me, do me a favor and just tell me how many years have you been in business? I'd like to know who's in the audience for me today. And if you would just pop that in the chat, that would be terrific. So we'll do that as we're waiting for people to join our call today. And I have a lot of great content for you today. So what I'd suggest is do try to turn off your cell phone, any distractions, and have some notepad and paper, and also a pen with a lot of ink in it, because you'll have a lot of things to write down today. So I'm hoping to give you a lot of information that will help you in your business today. And I'm going to touch lightly on some topics that I've covered in my book, which is now available on Amazon. It's called Business Breakthrough. So be sure and check that out. I believe it's still available for 99 cents during this promo period. So I would encourage you to go check that out. So again, as you're joining the call, I see we have a few people just popping on right now. Just tell me how long you've been in business, and also maybe how many people are on your team. I'd like to have a sense of the size of the businesses that I'm working with today. Okay. While I'm waiting for everybody to hop on and answer in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start off with where you are now and what your real problem is in your business and why your business might not be set up to achieve your life goals. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and I'll share some models with you that will help you kind of think about what you can do differently. And I'll also talk about what you need to have in place to achieve your goals. And I think this will be a very favorite topic, which is how financially successful designers charge for their services today. And also, we will touch briefly on marketing and mindset. So, those are the topics we have for today. We've got a lot of material to cover. And again, for those of you who are just joining me, I'm happy to have you here. And I hope you have a lot of takeaways from today. So, go ahead and share with me in the chat how many years you've been in business and how many employees you have, so I have a sense of the experience level of the people in the group. So, thank you again for attending. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your biggest frustration with your life and probably your business too. And we get these answers all the time, and I just want you to maybe think about it. And as I talk through these, pick the one that stands out the most, and then maybe just chat that in the screen for me. And I want this to be really interactive, even though you're not going to be on the camera and also speaking with me. I do want to see some answers, and I'll give some feedback as we go. So I want to make sure that you're participating full out today. So some of the biggest frustrations that our clients have is they'll say, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do to get unstuck. That's a very common thing that I hear. I also hear that I want to take my business to the next level, but I'm not sure what I need to change. And some people are uncomfortable because they don't have a business degree. And I don't know about you, but many people have the imposter syndrome, and that's an area that they struggle with. Some people take on difficult clients because they're afraid not to take the jobs, but they end up miserable. Then they're stressed and they can't sleep. So I don't know if any of those apply to any of you, but I think those are fairly common with almost all designers I talk to. You may also feel that you don't have work-life balance, and you may get home late. You may need to take care of the kids and work after you go to bed. And you might even miss important events and feel terrible about that when you do. Or maybe your spouse or your kids complain that you work all the time and constantly get texts and emails in the evenings and on the weekends. And for some of you are maybe sole proprietors. I see that on the chat, and you may not have a team. So for some of you, that could lead to burnout very quickly. So I don't know about you, but there's got to be an easier way for it. For some people, they get frustrated because their team doesn't work overtime and they have to pick up the slack to hit the deadlines. I've heard this many times, especially around the holidays. Some people are overwhelmed with the responsibility of running the business and wonder if they should just get a job. I hope you're not one of those. And some people may say that they're not earning as much money for all the time they're working. And surely there's a way to earn more, which I do totally believe that there is a way for everyone to make the kind of income that they want to make. This is an industry that allows us to do that. So you may also feel that you don't want to run a big company, and but you may feel that you need to do that to earn more money. But you don't necessarily have to. You can really run a very successful business, a boutique business with 4 people or less, and it's a great way to make a living. And then finally, you might be concerned about your financial future. And I know one client I had came up to me at High Point Market once and said, I'm smart. I can't figure out how to make more money though. And at that time, she had a couple $1,000s in net profit and she wasn't paying herself. So I told her, I said, we can fix that. And by the end of the year, we had her, if she had 100,000 of excess cash in the bank. So that's my goal, is to, to help clients get to that point so that they're actually making a really good income. So a lot of people ask us about how we can help them in their business. And the truth is, and the real question they need to ask is that you don't want to ask that question because it's really the shallow end of the pool. And we want to go deep and we want to figure out where your issues are that are in your business. And we believe that if we do the deep dive, that we'll be able to take your business to the next level. So you have a choice here. And we typically find that the people that are at this point where maybe they're stuck and yet they want to go deeper and want to go to the next level really need to focus on 3 critical outcomes. And the first one is financial confidence. And I don't know if that applies to anybody, but I find that a lot of designers will tell me that the numbers go right over their heads. So I believe that financial confidence is a really important thing that they need to know. Also, some people say, well, how can I unlock the money I deserve doing what I love? And on a scale of that you can see here, there are many ends of the spectrum, and you can take a look at these and maybe jot a note down for yourself where you might be on that continuum. So some people are scared and they're in that 250,000 and less for income or revenue, and their profit is less than 10%. They might also be anxious, and that's usually 250,000 to $1 million revenue and a minimum of 5% net profit, maybe less than 10 though. And they might also be comfortable somewhere between 1.5 million and 2 million in revenue and 10 to 15% net profit. Or they could be on the secure side where they're running a 3 million plus business and somewhere between 15 to 25% net profit. So you might take a look at that and write a number down for where you think you are right now. Feel free to share that in chat. Okay. So the second key outcome is about being very centered in your business. And in most cases, our clients experience a belief breakthrough when they work with us, and they want to get unstuck and take their business to the next level. And it does take a higher level of belief and confidence in yourself in order to do that. So, just briefly, we'll go through this, and you can also do the same thing and see where you are on this continuum. Are you clueless? And that's where some people are. They're just not sure what to do to fix their financial issues and also build a business that's really strong. Or they could be really overwhelmed, overconfident, or even centered. So pick a number on that, on the scale, and write that down for yourself. The third key outcome that might surprise you is that we have a lot of people that, and, and I will say this, and I don't know how many people are in the audience that are male, but we have a lot of women in the industry. And honestly, a lot of them want to be fulfilled and loved. And I mean fulfilled in that they're doing something that they actually love doing what they do. They love doing design. They love taking care of their clients. They love having a team. And so fulfillment and love are actually the languages that they use when they talk to us about this. So, what does that really mean? It's really about having meaningful relationships with like minded people, and it could be advisors, colleagues, and others, people like you that you can trust and turn to. And so there are 4 different levels here. So pick out a level and pick a number of where you might be. So some people are at the lonely and lost level, some are the searching and hopeful, some are empowered and energized, and the rest, when they get up to the top where they're feeling secure and centered, are often in the fulfilled and love stage. So go ahead and pop in a number there, and we'll see where you are on this continuum. So, you might wonder where you can find people like you who you can trust and turn to as your business grows. And of course, we do help design businesses every day of the week with growing their businesses and making more money. And what we really believe is that great designers like you and the creatives that we work with deserve to be recognized design leaders, both individually and in their businesses and in the location where they are. So, the conversation we're going to have today is about building a framework that you can apply to your business so that you can take your business to an entirely different level. And if we think about this framework, it's really about how you become this recognized design leader with these 3 critical outcomes that we talked about: the financial confidence, the belief breakthrough, and the meaningful relationships. And the question might be, where should we put our focus on these levers, and how do we engage to take the business to the next level? And the first lever is to propel your business is to build a really great business model. Many businesses that we work with have a broken business model. I would say really 100% of the people that come to us have some sort of a broken business model. And what you really need is a powerhouse model that supports your vision. And the next lever that you need to be pushing is your mindset. And if your leadership limit, which is meaning your skills and your influence, are less than, say, of 7 on a range of 1 to 10, then how can anybody else on your team climb above that? So it's really important for you to get to that level where you're 8, 9, or 10. And the other thing that's important here is that your customers are going to value you when you have that strength and that confidence, and you are at that higher level of your leadership limit. So if your limit is 8 or higher, everyone can elevate with you, and your mindset will be a key driver in your business success. And this will also drive your financial success. Okay, so the next lever is community, and it's who you surround yourself with. And for those people that are working alone and also don't have a community that they're with, that's going to be something that you're going to want to look for, is a group of like-minded people. So that could be through a mastermind group, which is a group of people that get together on a regular basis and talk through their business issues and help and support each other. And also maybe a larger community where there's education and support. So those are the things that you want to look for, as well as finding somebody who can assist you. So if you don't have your business sorted out and you're kind of in the clueless category, and if you don't have your mindset sorted out and you might be finding yourself in the self-sabotage range. And I don't know if people ever realize how much they get in their own way. And if you don't have community, then you just don't belong anywhere. So that is not the place you want to be. Because I remember when I was in my business, I felt alone a lot of times, like I couldn't talk to anybody and get answers about what I needed to do to change my business. So this is the framework that we bring to our businesses to help them transform their results. And we have 9 accelerators that we've identified that really help you. So one of the things you need to have in place is a financial model that supports your personal needs and goals. And that means that you need to know what it costs you to live, and also to fund your dreams. And the next thing you need is a foundational level, and then an operational model to ensure that your business is the powerhouse that it's really capable of being. Your mindset is the second accelerator of your business model. So you need prosperity thinking to attract the right clients. I don't know about you, but if you're not in a good headspace, it's going to be very hard to attract the right kind of clients to your business. You also need power to support what you do, and you need to use that power to deliver on your true purpose. And the true purpose is to serve others and also to do fabulous design work. But it also could be to give back to your community, and it could be to have a team and support your family. So there are so many things that can be part of your purpose. What we want you to do is be the best designer with the best design business that you've ever imagined, in a way that and that you're getting what you need out of it, and that you're serving others the way they want to be served. The third lever that we think is super important is community. And you want to attract, of course, the right clientele. And how many of you have had nightmare clients? Just go ahead and type in the chat. I don't know about you, but I've had my share. Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of me's and too many's and all of that. Yes. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to give you some tools today that are going to help you. So I'm really excited to share that with you. Okay, so also, yes, you've had a few doozies. Oh yeah, I can tell you stories. Well, we want you to experience an amazing collective of people that are like you, who cheer you on and support you. And that's our goal for you, whether it's with our community or somewhere else. So let's talk a little bit about a creative value blueprint and what that is. And I talk about this in my book. And this is something that I want you to think about this, and maybe just pick out a word that you would like to focus on, maybe today or in the future, to improve your business. So to me, your creative value blueprint is the right combination of pricing, profit, cost structure, team, systems, and processes for your business. Anybody have an area that they want to work on today? Go ahead and pop that in the chat. Remember, I'm going to make you work today. I want you to participate with me because I want to see where you are and how I can help. Profit, okay? Cost structure, systems. Anyone else? Go ahead and pop that in. Pricing and profit. Okay, great. We'll touch on some of that today. I think you'll find this helpful. Marketing, yes, we'll talk about that as well. Hard to select, all are so important. Systems and pricing. Hey, Amanda, good to see you here. Okay. So again, with that pricing, profit, cost structure, team, systems, and processes for your business, this is the blueprint that you need that is designed correctly. If it will run your business smoothly, and you'll generate that profit that you want and that you need to support your lifestyle, your dreams, and your financial goals. So building this strong business foundation requires complete clarity about your vision, your values, your goals, your brand, and your team structure. And when this blueprint is in place and is identified for your business, then you can take it to new heights with a well-planned marketing strategy. Because what you don't want to do is overwhelm your current machine the way it's set up with too much marketing until your foundation is rock solid. So without a creative value blueprint, you're either on this green line heading up the level of success that you're capable of achieving, or you're on the red line heading downward. And if you're here, you might feel very stuck in your business and maybe spinning your wheels. Anybody feel that? It'd be interesting to know where you think you are in that continuum. So the difference between the red and the green lines is the challenge that every single business owner faces, which is to get on that green line and stay there. Or if they don't do that, they'll drift to a less than desirable result. So you can make a decision and take action to get yourself on the green line, or just wait to see what happens. And that's usually the result that will not be what you hoped. Okay, so we don't have that correct slide up there. Mackenzie, if you could just go ahead and go to that real quickly so they can see that. Whoops. So if you can go ahead and go to the green line and the red line. Oops. Okay. Well, we don't have that in. All right. So a little miss on our side. So sorry. This is a brand new presentation for us. Okay, so if you could imagine there's a box and there's a line that goes up, and that's your green line, and the red line goes down. So that's where you're kind of drifting and going along doing what you always do, and usually getting the same results all the time. So the green line means that you're on a success tangent where you're going to go up the hill and you're going to definitely achieve your goals because you're very directed on what needs to be done to get there. So building this right framework will help you jump on that green line and stay on it and achieve your goals. So, so think about that and think if you're on the green line or the red line. So I'm going to go into fairly deeply today one major component of the financial accelerator of the creative value blueprint, and that is pricing, because that's an area where it is a little bit more difficult to kind of monitor and figure out where you need to be. And what I'll tell you is that value is subjective, and your clients see your value differently than what you see your value to be. So what I hear a lot of people ask is, how do I charge and get the clients to pay what I ask and what I feel I deserve? So how do I get paid fairly for my services? So I'm going to give you some guidance today. And when it comes to how to charge for your services, you'll need to make your own decision because I don't know your financials and your situation, but at least you can make an informed decision. And when it comes to fee structures, a lot of designers make mistakes, and I include myself in this. For years, I ran my own firm and I made a lot of the mistakes that you might be making today. And I'm going to blame it on education. And I hate to say that because the education was great up to a point, but they really didn't teach us how to charge. Anybody have that same feeling from your design training? I certainly did. So in the one business class that was offered, the teacher talked about how designers charge in loose and undefined terms. And never once did they walk us through the pros and the cons of every single decision that needed to be made about pricing. So where are you on that? Okay, Victoria's saying yes, for sure. Anybody else have that problem? Did they talk to you about that in design school? Well, I know that trial and error was a big part of my education. Okay, so one of the people says, finding my way with pricing. Okay, so we don't want you to use trial and error. It's just not the easiest. Okay, Suzanne says, nope, just mentioning the options. Okay. All right. So if you're like a lot of designers, you probably charge by the hour and you mark up your goods. Would that be true? So you guys, please help me out and let me know where you are and what you're doing. Okay. Carrie says yes. Anybody else charging mostly like that? Suzanne's doing flat fee. Okay. Some flat fee, Amanda. Hourly plus commission on net cost of goods. Okay. All right. So, okay, that's pretty typical for a lot of people. And we're going to talk today, and I'm going to share our easy budget calculator so you can see how to develop a really good pricing model if you're going to do a flat fee. So, sadly, the industry, the average net profit for the industry, this is what's left after you pay for all your products and operating expenses, is 7.67%. So, it's fairly low. And that is not where we want you to be. So though you have started your firm as a way to enjoy your passion and you want to do these beautiful client projects and make them very functional, the purpose of your business is really to make money. That is truly what it's all about. And statistically, only 40% of all, I think it's 27 million businesses in the US make a profit, which is really sad. And I hope you're one of the profitable businesses, but if you're not, avoiding pricing mistakes is a great place to start shoring up your company. So fees are just one aspect of creating a financially sustainable business, and the rest depends on you having the right business model that connects to your personal goals, your values, and your vision, and with a financial model that creates true value and profit. And since your business is unique to you, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to price your services because I don't know your business circumstances. So providing options will be the best way to help you today. So let's talk about how most people price. And one that I hear is picking a number from thin air. And that is definitely not recommended. And what I mean by that is some people will look at their competitors, the people that they most often run up against in a project, and they'll see what they're billing, and they might come in a little bit less or they might be about the same. So that's not really the right way to price your business. Some people will also figure a square footage price, and that is also typically randomly picked what they think the market will bear. And this is not a great practice unless you have solid data, what I call benchmarks from past projects. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a couple of minutes. Another way to go is a detailed line item spreadsheet, which is good, but it takes a lot of time. And it's not really advised except when you're checking your numbers or when you have more data to go from. So sometimes just trying to do that in the front of the job before you have full scope and understand all the ramifications of the job can lead you down a path where it might not be very profitable for you. The other thing is that the scope of the job often changes, as you know, once you're under contract. So spending all this time up front could be a waste of time if you don't get the job. So you don't want to do a whole lot of that kind of pricing on the front end. So I said I was going to talk to you a little bit more about benchmarking your projects. And what this means is that you need to track your time and also track what you typically charge for a common size room. And so, for example, for a living room, you might say that your project comes in at 50 or 80,000 or 150,000, depending on where you are and what level of design you do. And what I want you to do is make sure to check to see if you're actually making money on each of these projects. So when you do benchmarking, you'll be able to better ballpark the project costs when you talk to your clients or your prospects about the project fees. And so what I suggest is using a range and being able to answer questions about the budget parameters. And this gives your clients and prospects confidence in your knowledge and your professionalism. So that's going to be one of the most important things to do. And I'd love to hear from you. And if you would just type in the chat, how many of you benchmark your projects? Go ahead and type in. And take a sip of water while you're doing that. Amanda says, not enough, but some, occasionally, but not often enough. I get it. A lot of you are just, maybe numbers aren't your favorite thing to do. And I totally get it. It's not what designers like to do. You'd rather select everything and design and draw and work with the clients. There are a lot more fun things to do. But one of the most important things is for you to get to the point where you're the CEO of your business and you really understand your finances so you make money. And I want you to make money. So here's another way. You can do a percentage of project costs. So for example, your cost could be anywhere from 20 to 40% of the overall project cost. So for a $100,000 project, your fee could be anywhere from 20 to 40,000 for the design. And that's fairly typical with my clients that I work with. So you can take a look at your P&L and look at that for yourself and say, okay, typically, whatever your total revenue is for the year, just look at how much your time billing or your fees are and divide that by the revenue. And that's going to give you your percentage of the project costs that you charge for design fees. If you're below 20%, you're probably too low. So this is going to give you some idea of how much you should be doing. Okay, so the idea is when you look at your P&L, so go ahead and write this down. Write down what your time billing is, your total design fees or time billing, and then write that number down and then divide that by your total sales or your total revenue. That will give you what your percentage of design fees are in relation to your project. So it should be 20 to 40%. So if you write that down, after you get out of this session today, you can go back, look at your computer and see where you stand on your particular situation. And that will tell you if you're estimating what your fees are. So that will help you quite a bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you a way to make money and also to look at this is a great tool that we're going to give you today for free. Yeah, so that just applies to fees. It does not include money made on products. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So bear with me a second. Okay, and I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to walk you through a calculator that I developed with my CFO team. And we spent months working on this. And I hope you download this and use this tool because it is so helpful to help you put together an overall budget for a project, especially if your client does not tell you what their budget is. So how many of you have ever had that problem with the client not telling you their budget? Feel free to type that into chat. And Mackenzie, feel free to just give me some feedback on that because I can't see that right now. Okay, we'll wait for a second. And Mackenzie, you can unmute and let me know if there are any chat messages. Okay, well, she's...
Yeah, there's a lot of yes, no one knows what their budget is. Yes, that happens often that a client won't share their budget, sometimes because they're being cagey, and sometimes because they really don't know.
Okay.
And I think Harlow Wholesale Lighting is having trouble with sound. I'm not sure if anyone else is. I can hear you though, Gail.
Okay,
That's what I'm
well,
seeing.
I have a feeling that might be an internet connection, so I'm so sorry about that. Are you recording, Jared, for everybody?
Yes, I am recording and there will be a replay.
Okay, there you go. So hopefully that person will be able to hear this. Okay, so I'm going to dive into this calculator because this will give you some tools that you can work with. So for example, and I'm skipping tab 1. That's the information on how to use this if you're not having me walk you through it. So we're going straight into tab 2, which is where the meat is. So in this first line, you'll see that you can enter a house value, or in your case, apartments, if you're dealing in New York City, and you can look that up on Zillow. So let's just say that you're working on a $2 million apartment. And let's say, for example, that you're going to establish a budget based on a percentage of the home value. And there is a company called Home Trust, and it's listed over here on tab 1, and it's right toward the bottom. And it's right here on note 2. So you can look this up. They have a really great website that explains how much a typical project would cost. It's definitely at the luxury level, but it's something that you can put on your website so that if somebody is working on a project budget, you have a third party person that's saying that it's somewhere between, say, 35 to 45%. So you can pick, as you can see here, what percentage of the overall value of the house that you would establish for this project. And in some areas, people will go above what they bought their house for in terms of renovations and furnishings and things like that. So it can range anywhere along here. So we're going to pick 40% as our number today. And we're going to say that in your case, it's probably a $2 million place is probably 2,000 square feet, and that you're doing all 2,000 square feet of that project. You're going to enter a percentage of existing furnishings to be used. And in this case, let's do 25%. And right here, where we've got this in red, you can actually override this budget calculation if your client gives you a budget. So for those rare occurrences when they actually do that, you can put in a budget of, say, $400,000, and it's going to override all of these other numbers we just put in. So for now, let's just go back to the regular calculator, and we're going to go ahead and finish the exercise. So you can enter a percentage of overall budget for renovations if it's going to be deducted from the overall budget. In this case, I'm going to say 0 because we're not planning to do renovations. We're just going to do furnishings. And then you can say as a percentage of the overall budget that your design fee is 20%. And it's going to calculate, and I'll show you how this does down below. And then let's just say that your product markup percentage is 30%. And in this case, it's actually a gross margin of 23%. And if you don't know the difference between the two, I'll just explain that the 30% is what you mark up on your proposal, but the 23% is what shows up on your P&L. And that may be confusing. Don't worry about it. We're just lightly touching on that today. So on this line, we're not going to have renovations, so that's 0. There's no renovation materials, so that's 0. And say that your sales tax percent is 9%. I don't know what New York is, but I'm sure it's high. And say that you've put in an estimate of 12% for freight, crating, and delivery. And who knows if that's even close to what it is today, especially in New York City. And also you can indicate if you have sales chart or sales tax that is charged on the design fee, and we're going to say no. And we're going to indicate that there is sales tax on freight, because some states do charge that. And I'm not sure what New York is. So here's the budget overall. It's $800,000 on this project. And we're going to take out $200,000 because the client is going to use some of their furnishings. So therefore our total budget is $600,000. And because our design fee is a total of the fees plus the markup and the product cost, that's $600,000 that we're going to work with. And 20% of that is going to be design fees. So that's $120,000. That's equivalent of $60 a square foot. That leaves us $480,000 to use for furnishings. And that is the price that you're going to be charging to your client, including the freight and the delivery and the tax. So what we're going to do is take out that freight and delivery right here. And that gives us the net dollars that we can spend. So that's the amount of money that you can spend at any of the showrooms at the D&D. And so we've got $302,450 to spend on those furnishings. And that equates to $151 a square foot. And if you add the fee at 60 to the 151, it's going to cost $211 a foot to furnish that project and to do the design work. So we've come up with an actual calculation that makes sense. So what I'll show you down here is that the net purchasing is $302,450, which matches up here. It's showing your markup of $90,000, and it gives you a gross revenue, or what you're charging to the client, of $393,000. Then you add in your sales tax, your freight, the sales tax on freight, and the final client price is $480, and the design fee is $120. It all adds up to $600,000. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Or Mackenzie, can you just let me know if there's some questions, because I can't see the chat screen.
Everyone was asking what this was called, so I let them know that they're going to get access to it right after you stop sharing.
Perfect. Yes.
And there's a question from Victoria, and she says, those numbers seem high. I'm working on a $2.2 million condo right now, and the budget is $250,000. Maybe that is low, but just asking.
$250,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is her budget.
All right. So if that was given to you by the client, then here's your budget. And that's going to give you, at 20% of that is a $50,000 design fee, and it's $25 a square foot. And I don't know if that is the right square footage for that condo. Let's say we use 2,000 square feet. That might even be a little bit high on square footage, might be 1,000 for New York City. But anyway, that gives you $126,000 for net purchasing dollars. So that is if your client gives you a budget. And so it depends, because some people are really at the high end and they really want to go luxury. So especially if they are maybe my age and they have a lot of savings, and maybe they want to really go all out. Their kids are grown and they can put some money into their place, they might spend more. So you can use this calculator either way. You can use the client's budget, or you can calculate a budget. And this at least gives you a way so that you can figure out a range for the client and talk to them very openly about what they need to be investing. Okay, so I'm going to go to these next few tabs, and I'm just going to double check our time because I know we've got still have a bit to cover. So I'm going to have to speed this up. All right, so let's look real quickly. And this is a tab that I'm just going to briefly mention because you can play with this, but it will allow you to put in your hourly rates and how many hours that you're going to budget for each person on the team for each of the phases of the project. You can also set a target budget for phase. And then over here on the right in the blue, when the project is over, you can go back, and this is part of where benchmarking comes in. You can indicate how many hours you actually spent per phase by person, and then it's going to show you if you're over or under budget. So I'm going to just go quickly over here, and this will show you a summary of the hours that were spent on the project and the total time budget and what you actually billed. So it's a really great way of estimating what you need to be spending. This next tab that I'm going to go to is going to allow you to put a budget together by room, and you can allocate a percentage of your budget to each of the rooms, and that's going to give you desired purchasing dollars. So you can see here that that's 25,000. So you can't put in a $15,000 sofa. So let's put in a 9,000. This is your cost, by the way, a $9,000 sofa. And maybe we're going to take out the accessories because I've put in accessories in a different place. So you might have some other items in here, but it's going to show that your budget at your cost is $11,000. And it's going to keep updating your remaining dollars to be allocated. So you can do this by room, and it's all going to total up for you. And you can tell if you're on track for your project. I also put in here as a room accessories because a lot of times you don't have budget left for accessories. So go ahead and put in 10% of your overall budget, and that'll allow you 12,000 for accessories at the end. And then some people want to have a little bit of space. So in other words, they don't know what else they might need to add in. So I'm going to call this holdback. And you can put in 10%. And that's going to allow you to not spend all of your money up front, but allow a little bit of extra just in case you have other things you decide you need for the project. Okay. Mackenzie, feel free to unmute and ask me questions anytime you see those. All right.
We're good right now.
Okay, good. And renovation budget, same thing. You can create your own budget here with materials and labor. And I don't know why it's not letting me go all the way over. But you can go ahead and indicate your cost, and your markups have already been put on the front. And since we're not doing a budget for any materials, then we're not going to have anything on this page. And then briefly, I'm going to hit on the proposal. And this is going to show you that the total budget was $250. This is what you've spent for each of these items so far. So you're under budget by $153,000. So you can go spend some more money. So that's all good. And then finally, on this last tab, we're giving you what the actual marked up costs are for each of the rooms. And this would be that the client is paying. So you can see that for the living room, the furniture costs $14,300 with your markup. The freight is included, and the sales tax, and your total budget for that room is $17,457. And it all relates to that first tab of the spreadsheet. So that is a very quick review of our easy budget calculator. And this is only in Excel, and you can do this on Mac. I have a Mac, so you will be able to use this. It's really, really easy to do. So take a second and take a quick picture of this on your screen. And this is the QR code, and it will give you a link so that you can open it and go to our profit and pricing shortcuts. And there's an easy budget calculator with training video, ideal client profile, which probably some of you need to go through that exercise, which is great. And there is information about how to price your services and what you need to know to hire a coach if you're interested in that kind of service. So let me just go to back to my, if you'll just go to the next slide. I'm going to just take you briefly through a couple of other things that I wanted to touch on today. And marketing mastery and mindset. So marketing is the lifeblood of your business, and you've got to be consistently, relentlessly marketing. so that your lead flow is consistent overall and less stress inducing. So learn to love marketing. A lot of people don't do it, and they also don't do it when it's most important to do it. And that is when you're the busiest. That's the hardest time for people to get to the point of doing their marketing, but that's when you need to do that because you need to fill in your pipeline for the future so that you don't have big dips and valleys. So that's where the wild swings come from. So just let's talk briefly about what marketing is. And I love this from James Altucher. And he says, what you offer is not just your product. Your offering is product, services, your employees, your experiences, your ideas, your other customers, and even your competitors. So sell them all. When you're good at what you do, the product or service you offer is just the way people build the first link to you. It's the top of a huge pyramid. But the base of the pyramid, the real service, is when customers have access to you and you can provide advice and the full power of your network and experience. This is when you're over delivering on steroids and how you build real wealth, not just a one-time fee for a service or product, because we don't want this to be transactional. We want a transformational relationship with your clients. So let's talk about marketing and some of the things that you can do. And I think these are some of the best things, in my opinion, that will help you grow your business. And that is, of course, showing your work to your neighbors, your realtors, and your friends. And that's the way I started my business years ago. And I would have a before and after party. And those were really great because people would see the before. And then while we were doing renovations, they might drop in and see what was going on. And then we would host an after party. And I got a lot of great business from that. Also, referrals, that's about 80 to 90% of most designers' source of work. And so you need to be working your referrals and letting your clients know right up front that you build your business by referrals. And if they're happy, you're going to remind them later in the project when you have your reveal that you would love to have a referral to other people like them. And so that's a really easy way to do it. It's not a high pressure situation, and they're already pre-ready to know that you expect referrals. Charitable activity is a really great way to get to know people who have the funds and have the heart for the same things that you do. Be sure and get into something that you enjoy doing. And of course, realtor relationships are extremely important. The builder relationships, contractor relationships, architects, and even photographers can refer you to business. And then, of course, you need to be working on your editors and writers relationships. All of these are part of what you need to be working on all the time, and have a plan, and maybe have 10 people that you're targeting for realtors, builders, contractors, architects. And that's going to help you build your business. I have one client who started with me 7 years ago, and she was doing about 200,000 a year in revenue. And 7 years later, she has grown it to 4 million. And the way she's done it is by consistently marketing to these people. And eventually it will pay off, but it takes 2 to 3 years to build that. So you have to be consistent in that marketing and touch them at least 7 times a year until you start building that relationship and they start sending you the kinds of leads you need. Okay, that was a whirlwind of marketing. And now we're going to just talk briefly about mindset, because that is so important to what you do. And building a business means influencing and convincing prospects to work with you over other competitors and designers. So confidence is that's your friend. And it's a necessary success tool. And it's the only way you're going to become confident is to just be courageous and get in action. So when you do that, then you will eventually have the confidence. So all those things that I talked about in marketing, if you are not confident, you might be sabotaging yourself because you're not doing that essential marketing to get the business that you need. So you really have to work on the confidence level. I know a lot of designers love what they do, but they're nervous about working with affluent clients, especially if they're not in those same social circles. But that doesn't matter. What really matters is who you are on the inside and how talented you are. If you're a great business person and you love to market, you can be more successful than some of the most talented designers in your area. So just know that this is really about being a good business person. So learn how to communicate with confidence and ask for referrals. And that should be a standard way of you doing business. And, just keep in mind that your clients will willingly promote you if you've done a great job with their project. So just focus on great client service because that can be the biggest key to you being successful. So knowing what it takes financially to make the profit you deserve is the key to making some more money and having confidence as a recognized design leader when speaking with clients. So when you're confident, you're going to be able to learn more. So we covered a lot of ground today, and I wanted to leave a few minutes for questions, but just to review, we talked about where you are now and what your real problem is and why your business might not be set up to achieve your life goals, and also what you need to have in place to achieve those goals and how financially successful designers charge for their services. And then I've given you that easy budget calculator, which will be a great help to you. And then you can focus on your marketing and your mindset. So I just wanted to share with you too that we have a marketing challenge coming up in June. We've done this. This will be our third time doing this. There's so much fun. You will learn so much. It's June 7th through the 11th, and it's an hour a day. And you can claim a discount code up above. It's in the chat. And the way you do this is sign up for a quick call with our team so we can just talk to you and see where you are in your business and what challenges you are and see what we can do to help you. If you sign up and have a quick call by May 14th, you can get a special discount code for the June marketing challenge when you do that. So you'll get a special code from Pat that you'll be talking to, and she'll give you that at the end of the call. So anyway, the link for the call is in the chat, and that's the end of my presentation. And I'd love to know what you learned and also what questions you have. Go ahead and pop those in the chat for me. Okay. Suzanne says, love that budget calculator. Good. I'm glad you love that. I kind of love it. I am a little bit of a geek when it comes to finances. And I say that with no shyness about it because I love the numbers and I love helping people make money. And, you should be making whatever your revenue is. If you're doing, say, $1 million a year, you should be making $100,000 to $200,000 a year. And if you're not, then something's wrong with your pricing model. So that's just a little bit of a hint. So take a look at your finances when you go home and see what percentage you're making. Okay. Anybody else have feedback? Any questions? I am more than happy to stay on and answer that. That is the tool that I just showed you is the easy budget calculator. Okay. What is it based on? What exactly are you referring to? So I gave you a link in there for the company that has the home trust, and they have some information that you can go to that link, and they talk about what the standard budgets are for projects, and that is what we're using. And you can also select your own range. That gives you a starting point, but you can also adjust that. Okay, torn because of age, starting a business so late, close to 60. What if I want to be involved in design, but not owning a business itself? What would you recommend as an ideal alternative? Well, I can tell you, if you've got great design skills, there are a ton of people looking for qualified people who would love to work for them right now. You will have no problem finding a job if you want to. I'll tell you that I started this business at 52, so I don't think it's too late to ever start a business. And I'll probably work till I keel over. So don't let age get in your way. Yes, I do work with lighting design firms, as a matter of fact. So I've been working with somebody for a little over 2 years. And that's a lighting designer, almost 3 years. The question on what is the hourly rate? What hourly rate is the budget calculator based on? It depends on it's your hourly rate. So on that tab where I was showing you the time budget, you can enter your own hourly rate into that. So, and if you have different people on your team, you can enter in their hourly rate as well. So this is based on yours. Yes, we did. Can you bring up that slide again, Mackenzie, for everybody and show them the budget estimator, budget calculator so they can download that? Huh. Or if you have that link, then you can include it. So Jared, can you also send that out to your list after this is over? If we get
Yeah,
that
sure.
to you in an email link? Okay, great.
Absolutely. Yeah. After this is over, I'll send the replay video, and I'll also include that link
Okay,
as well.
excellent. Okay. All right. All right. So you can find your courage, Gabrielle. Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. And thanks for saying that. Because you know what? It's okay. You're starting where you are. And the confidence comes from just being courageous. It really does. Okay. So if you're having problems with that link, we'll double check that. We will email it separately. So you will get that. So no problem. Okay. Good. I'm glad it was a good refresher. I haven't seen you in a long time. Glad you made it today. Good refresher and motivator. Good, good, good. All right. Does anybody else have questions or comments? I've got a couple more minutes. I just want to make sure I get to everybody. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And Jared, thank you for having me. It
Gail,
was
thank you so much for doing the presentation. You were amazing. And
awesome. Well, thank you.
yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope to see you back in the D&D, and we're so happy you joined us, and I'll send out the replay. And thanks again, Gail.
Awesome. I see one more question. I'll go ahead and answer it. Do
Oh,
you
okay.
ever, yeah, do you ever not charge a percentage on products? Yes. I actually helped a client the other day, and they had a very, I mean, they're a very high-end firm. And we actually figured out what their markups would be, and we put that into a design fee. And so they're giving the client the actual costs that they're paying to the vendors, and that they are still making the same kind of money that they would make otherwise. Okay, I am so glad it was helpful, and I hope you learned a lot today that you will take home and apply. That's the most important thing. And it's been my pleasure, and I hope to hear from all of you. And if you're going to High Point Market, I will be speaking there again. I will be doing the same presentation if you want to hear it again, or you can hear the recording as well. So I look forward to seeing you all there. So Jared, thank you again for having me.
Excellent. Thank you.
All
Have a
right.
great weekend, everybody.
Bye.